Why, hello there. And welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will. I'm a D&D sex icon. I'm back today for another episode of the War of the Roses, where today we are joined by a very special mystery guest that no one knows who they are. Not even I know who the special mystery guest is. Oh, shit. 1 second. Wait, no one can know. No one can know. Oh, God. Oh, I've ruined it all. It's just too dark. There we go. Safe.
It's bird number 2.
Now this I can get behind.
Let's go around the castle.
I knew you were a double crosser, but that's not what I thought that meant.
The treachery begins already. Amazing stuff. But we have everyone back with us today, so let's go around and remind ourselves of who we are and, of course, who we're playing today. And because we have a new person with us, why don't we remind ourselves of just what people look like visually as well, aside from artwork and stuff like that. So let's start with Jen Dreamwisp. How's it going today?
Hello, how's it going? It's going well. How are you guys?
Good, good. I am excited to learn who's behind door number 1. As our mystery
Me
guest.
too. I'm so excited to have somebody new. I am Jen. I am Dreamwisp on Twitter and Instagram. Dreamwisp Jen on Twitch. And I am playing Valian McNair. Valian is the sister to Cicero. She is the daughter of House McNair, and she was tortured for several years by House Blackwood. She was kidnapped and tortured. After a few years, she escaped, was found by the Night's Watch, and spent several years, or spent a significant portion of time impersonating a member of the Night's Watch named Devrin Rain. So she has some loyalties to the Wall. And she has just done some unmasking of certain party members. Yeah, and she looks very much kind of like Cicero's sister. She has kind of dark hair. She's a slightly slender build, and she is an amputee. So she has her one of her legs is prosthetic, but she doesn't let too many people know about that. So her gait is always very slightly out of rhythm.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great. And we have Joseph back with us tonight. Joseph, how's it going today?
Oh, it's good. It is very good. Excited as always to get into another session. I'll be playing Cicero McNair tonight. He is the brother to Valian McNair, son of Sir Brian McNair, an heir to the McNair house. And he is a fairly young man of a very slender build, as he prefers vegetables in his diet. Prefers not to eat meat. And he is also an amputee, though at first glance you would not know it. He has a silver left hand, but always wears gloves. Yeah, he's just doing as much as he can, trying to stay alive and keep some of his friends alive if he can as well. So that's where we're at.
Fantastic. Awesome. And of course, we have the deceptive Bird versus Plane with us tonight. How's it going, my friend?
It's going very well. Not as deceptive as I would have hoped it would have gone, but hey, things happen in these kind of games. I am going to be playing Septon Birch, who has been exposed as a phony named Halleck Bull, thanks to some masterful play by Valian last week. I'm really excited, and the Septum is so nervous to see how this goes. He is a middle-aged man, bald head, great big bushy gray beard, and kind of a rotund guy, has a little bit of trouble getting around. And yeah, if I thought he was nervous and shady before, let's see what him having no other options is gonna do to him this week. God.
Can't wait to see. Great stuff. And of course, we have Kitty back with us tonight. Kitty, how's it going?
It's going great. Great. Not muted this time. Had a whole theme of that before. No, it's great to go back. So to be back. I'm playing Kaylee Tarbeck, the ever soon to be broken and destroyed young woman who is smitten with our Cicero now, but it just seems to be fated to be heart crushed. It's going to be great, though. No, it's going to be wonderful. I'm glad to be back. It's been too long.
Wait.
It's been too long. I'm going to throw somebody off the cliff. It's going to be great.
Good. Can't wait. It's just My favorite part of this is just setting up all these romances just so I can crush them later on. Wow, it's really why I show up. But we have a new mystery guest with us tonight that no one has yet seen before. It is, of course, drumroll please, let me hold you in suspense for yet one more moment. Who could it be? Many have questioned, is it going to be Liam Neeson? And as Liam is a very close personal friend of mine, I can confirm that no, it's definitely not. Instead, we have basically the next best thing, not so speedruns, whether Speedy has it going tonight.
Hello, it's going great. I'm really happy to be here. It's been a good while since I've been on this channel. I'm sorry I'm not Liam Neeson, for those of you who are really expecting it up until that last moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I won't pretend it's not a disappointment. I was really hoping that Liam would come through.
Well, then we probably all get captured, so it's better than a few. We're really excited to have you.
You're right. I may not have a special set of skills, but well, that's about it. I don't have a special set of skills.
Well, instead then, despite not having a special set of skills, talk to us a little bit about the character that you'll be playing tonight.
Yes. Today I will be playing as Lady Sophina Blackwood, who you may recognize the name of as a noble daughter of House Blackwood.
Joseph's Kitty's face, Jen's face, Derek's face. Oh boy. Yes, indeed. Lady Sophina Blackwood will be joining us tonight. So
I may retract my statement about being happy that you're not Liam Neeson.
Liam would never play Lady Sophia. Oh boy, man. Well, that's going to be exciting. So, as the drama continues, we have a Blackwood amongst our party. I'll remind you guys of just a couple of things today, as I've called to be your games master for tonight. But we are here sponsored today by FantasyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Go ahead and check them out. The demo version is free. It's awesome. It's fun. It's good. Do it. WhalenGames.co.uk is a go-to destination for tabletop board games, war games, minis, and more, and up to 20% off. And TabletopLoot.com have some incredible dice to sell on their website, and they give away a set of dice at the end of each game. We've got 2 to give away at the end of the last one, end of this game, because I forgot to give one away at the end of the last one. I was too busy talking about Ronald. Anyway, I will remind you guys a little bit of what happened last week on the show. Oh, and of course, here is the treat for you guys.
Before we dive in, can I do a quick plug?
Yeah, yes, Jen, you have your plug.
Yeah, I just have a quick plug. World Builders is going on right now. For those of you that don't know, World Builders is a charity that Pat Rothfuss set up. Pat Rothfuss wrote The Name of the Wind and Kingkiller Chronicles. He's a fantastic author. He just wrote a D&D Rick and Morty comic. He's on Acquisitions Incorporated. He's just an awesome all-around guy. And he set up a fantastic charity that donates to Heifer International, which helps provide cows, goats, sheep to people who need them all over the world. And it's basically the greatest thing you can do for a family, because it provides a sustainable source of food, of income, and it can change their lives, access to clean water. It's an incredible organization, very highly rated on all of the charity indexes. They give away the most amazing nerd swag. You can buy it at worldbuilders.org. And they're only doing 2 weeks. This is the 10th anniversary. Last year, they raised over $3 million, and it changes the lives of so many people. So please, if you have a couple of bucks to spare, you can throw in. They have lotteries for all sorts of signed books. They've had stuff that's signed by Neil Gaiman before. Like anything in the geek world, there's going to be something to your tastes. So go check out what they have. Anything you can throw in, even $1, just helps so much and really changes lives. So please, they're only doing 2 weeks this year instead of a full month. So please go, if you can, help out and change some lives.
Awesome. Got a link there in the chat for you guys as well. So definitely follow that link. There you go. Fantastic. Great. Well, let's kick off with a much darker note with the last week of Game of Thrones, as the party got embroiled in some drama at McNair Hall, returning home after a successful tournament at Blackwood Hall. The party returned home with fear of war upon their doorstep. This reports seem to confirm the suspicions that the Blackwoods are in league with the Boltons of the Dreadfort and are planning some mischief here in the north. And the McNairs are likely to be the first, or if not next, likely place to get attacked and targeted by their old enemies, the Blackwoods. We got up to a whole lot of sort of character and relationship development last week, which I won't deep dive into too much. But the main takeaway is that the party are headed to Last Half, which is far eastwards of them, across the Last River, in order to meet with the Umbers, who are their sort of liege lords, and in order to petition them for aid and to convince House Umber that the McNairs are worthy of their help, and that the Blackwoods and the Boltons are up to no good. Along the way, we have had several attempted marriages and engagements by Sir Brian McNair, the bad dad of both Cicero and Valian. And most importantly, perhaps, we uncovered a secret of Septon Birch's, that he is not, in fact, named Septon Birch. He's not even a Septon. He is Halleck, and he has been impersonating the Septon in order to get old and get fat in comfort here in the north. Now having been uncovered with his links to Morton, who is by all accounts, some kind of spy master, possibly in league with the Lannisters. Septon Birch's true identity has been revealed to Cicero and Valian, who instead of killing him and throwing him out, have seen the potential for having an inside man, as it were, and intend to make good on that new relationship, I suppose. The current plan, of course, is that the party will head out tomorrow from Blackwood Hall, from McNair Hall, rather, I should say. And there is also somewhat on the cards which will be relevant. I'm thinking back to the show flashbacks, where they show really specific pieces of information that will become relevant this episode, and you're like, why did they show that? Oh, probably because it's going to come up. Is that Sophia Blackwood is a disgruntled member of House Blackwood. And she is also unmarried, but of marrying age. And it has been somewhat floated, I suppose, the idea that were she to marry Cicero, that potentially the McNairs would be out of the war and out of the firing line. Whether or not that would mean an end to the war is an entirely different matter. But Sir Brian McNair is certainly keen on the idea of Cicero marrying goddamn somebody. And Valian is semi-engaged, maybe, to, what's his name? Old Matey McGee. You guys know his name. Donald Lee. So Donald Lee, who is kind of proposed, maybe, who knows? And he has 1,000 swords at his disposal, so were he to be married and marry into the McNair household, they too, Valian would be a Lee and would be under the protection of the House Lee. So that's also on the cards. There's a whole lot going on. Kaylee, you missed a whole lot while you were away. Yeah. But it's okay. I imagine that you've been... well, actually, tell me, what has Kaylee been up to over the past, 12 to 24 hours?
I feel... have we already left the city?
We, at this point... Yeah, so basically what happened was 2 weeks ago, I was like, and then you leave. And then last week we sort of rewound and did a deep dive into what happened at the hall with Valian back. So at this point, we are still about to leave. Yeah.
Okay, well, I would assume that over the last 24 hours, honestly, she's probably been spending a lot of time with her father, with everything sort of coming towards her, because all love stories aside and everything, it's her dad, and she's going to be very attached to him, and the chance that death could come to either of them at any point. So she would most likely be spending a lot of time with him, preparing to leave everyone.
Okay. Do you, just as for my own knowledge, do you mention anything about the nature of your relationship with Cicero?
Not to her dad. Not really, okay. Other than just being very good friends. Because I think that when we left off with Cicero last time they spoke, Kaylee said that she stands behind anything that he has to do.
Right, exactly. Okay. Cool. And so, rather than picking up the party, we'll say then that basically you guys are getting ready to leave this morning, saddling up and the like. And we'll get to Valian's, much like the needed, necessary escape attempts to break out of McNair Hill shortly. We will instead head to Lady Sophina Blackwood in a very dark, dark corner of the world known as Blackwood Hall. Now, Lady Sophina, we have yet to see you, so what do you look like?
Lady Sophina is... She looks like a noble. In every sense of the word. She is young, still, 23. She wears her hair almost perfectly, this black mane that curls around her shoulder, waving slightly. Her finery, generally in the colors of reds and blacks, as is the colors of House Blackwood. Around her neck, she wears a silver chain with ravens all along it. Her eyes are piercing but dark blue, and she has a sort of knowing smile to her when caught undisturbed.
You are, at this point in time, alone in your chambers at night. It's pretty late. And you have long watched the abuse of power that your family have done unto the McNairs and various other houses in the area. And you watched only a matter of days ago your brother, the much hated Michael Blackwood, be run through by Cicero McNair at Blackwood Hall's tournament, and after which you saw your father and Lord Bolton be thrown into a fury at the loss of the son, your brother. And you have watched their plotting from afar. Well, I think that perhaps you are not one who is who's worthy of their attention, so far as they barely even notice when you're in attendance at the hall. You have overheard the whisperings and rumors and plottings of the two of them. And you've also managed to make contact with someone else as well. Someone far more powerful, or at least claims to be, than even Roose Bolton of the Dreadfort. And so you are anticipating a knock on the door when it comes this evening. It is a heavy thud upon the door, which just by its rhythm, you recognize to be not the person that you're expecting, but instead your father, who rarely visits your tower. This is, of course, Lord Ulrich Blackwood, and you hear this heavy on the door.
She immediately tenses up slightly at the sound of the knock, all too familiar. Swallows deeply and rises cautiously towards the door.
You see your father before you as it opens up. He's a harsh-looking man with piercing grey, almost to the point of being clear eyes. And ever since Michael died, his menace and his bitterness has only grown deeper and more bitter, more sour, poisonous almost. And it weighs heavy upon his face, lines which are cragged eyes, which haven't seen sleep in several days now. Sophina, may I come in?
Yes, of course, Father.
He steps into the room and looks around. then back over to you with a shot. My men tell me that they have seen ravens flying to the castle. Ravens which were headed towards your tower, and some which left as well. Tell me, who has been writing to you?
Do you remember the Bolton boy you used to play with as a kid? Occasionally when he was brought on diplomatic missions?
Yes. Bastard.
He wanted to begin some sort of correspondence.
Really? And you deign to reply to this bastard lord's son?
Seems only right to let him down gently, aye?
Well, make sure that there are no snows knocking upon your doorstep at night, Sofina. These are very troubling times, very difficult ones, and we must all stick together as a family should. Especially as there are fewer of us than there ought to be.
Thought you would have wanted a son by now. Or a grandson.
Yes, well, Lord Bolton will see to such matters. He has many friends in the courts. And, well, soon. But first, there is much work to be done with those whoresons, the McNairs, and the rest of them as well. Well, see that no more letters come in and out of this tower. I will be having them monitored from now on, do you understand?
Aye. Of course, Father.
Good. Good. And he steps very close to you for a moment to look you in the eyes, and there is a menace and a darkness behind those eyes that you know only too well. And he sulks out of the room after an uncomfortable amount of time, closing the door behind him.
Bastard.
Funny old chap. You hear a voice from the window, and a little rat-a-tat-tat. And you see a figure who is squatting on your windowsill at the top of this tower.
Ah. Good to see you again. You're a risky one.
Yeah, he opens the window as he steps in, and you see the familiar face of Morton before you. Slender, tall, nothing much to look at. In fact, in his very nature, fairly easy to forget. He's wearing simple clothes, which are, I guess, honed towards athleticism. You can see that there was a rope with which he must have found his way up this tower with. And he's clearly a little bit more nimble than maybe you gave him credit for. He plays with a what looks to be some kind of chess piece in his hand, the equivalent of in this world, I suppose, as he steps into the room. Well, that was a close call, wouldn't you say?
Aye. Your timing is just barely impeccable.
I figured I'd watch a little while longer. Do you really write letters to Ramsay Snow?
course not. You say that as if you don't already know.
Sometimes it's nice to figure out one's tells, but you're very good, and you're going to need to be, especially with this bunch. The McNairs are as devious as a ferrety little symbol would have you believe. I think this will work out in your favor, however. I have it on good authority that Cicero McNair is considering a marriage towards you in order to save the household, as though he thinks that would save the McNairs in the first place. Quaint idea, but nonetheless, with the information which I have here, and he hands over a parchment rolled up and sealed, this should be able to buy you some time at the very least. It didn't come from me, you understand?
Nothing ever comes from you.
That's right. And your father isn't to know about this. If he heard, he'd be very upset with me, as with you. Although that's rather more inevitable, I suppose.
Hmm. You say that like I'm going to care anymore what he thinks.
True enough. Well, once you are free, make sure not to forget your mission. You're not there to have a good time, even if you are to forsake your family. I trust that our agreement and the payment which was received will be enough to hold you true to your word.
Aye. There is, of course, more than just coin that I've asked for. You know that.
Of course. Anything is possible. Everything, in fact. Well. Very well. I have all of the preparations made for your escape, of course, and everything is set. So are you ready, Lady Sophia?
Aye.
Good. Well, just to reiterate one more time, find them, travel with them, do as much as you can to get in the way, and listen to them. Befriend him if you can, woo him if you must, seduce him if needed. And make sure that once they're at last half, you slip in a word here or there for the Umbus. Make sure that no agreement is made, or if things are looking a little too dicey, further instructions will come, although they may result in the end of a few lives.
I don't want no innocents getting hurt.
Innocence, never. No, these McNairs, like the rest of these, if you'll forgive the term, northern scum, are all guilty in some manner of speaking. You have watched the trail of your father, of the people here, and, well, years before, the McNairs did exactly the same thing. They are traitors by nature. Read up on it sometime. The history is rather interesting.
I've read plenty.
This, the Septon, keep an eye on him for me. If he's spoken too much, cut out his tongue.
You'd ask me to cut out the tongue of a Septon.
Oh, he's no Septon. But, no, not yourself, I suppose. Bring me word. I'll cut it out myself.
Fair enough.
Very good. Very good. Oh, and before we leave, if you were to wed Lord Cicero, of course, this would be somewhat difficult with plans that may grant them some form of, well, a withholding of execution, let's say, at least for Cicero, but the orders are to make sure that they are all dead, so, if there's anything else going on, use it as you see fit. He does travel with some very pretty girls, I hear.
I'll keep that in mind.
I trust you to cause as much chaos as possible, and that's why I respect you, Lady Sophina. So, let's go. I hope you don't mind climbing. It's a little way down.
It's not like I haven't done it before. I will
Underestimate
just start
you again.
climbing.
Yeah. He climbs down with you a fairly long descent to the bottom of the tower, where there is a carriage waiting, which he bids you to step into. And may your travels see you well. You may wish to ditch the carriage after a while and go on horseback. Up to you, of course. They should be on the road 1 days out of McNair Hall.
Excellent. The driver? Who is he?
One of my men.
Good.
Before you ask, completely untrustworthy, so I ditch him as soon as you can.
I got that by the first part.
Very well. Well, send my regards to the McNairs when you can. And he does a little faux sort of bow.
I'll, sure, say hi for you. Not too soon.
He nods and sort of puts a finger to his nose for a second, shoots you a wink, and dances back into the main gates of Blackwood Hall. As the carriage begins its journey into the night, we will cut back to McNair Hall, where it is also a dark evening as tomorrow travels begin. In fact, we'll cut back just to the night before, as there may be some pertinent moments here with Valian. As you're back in your room, have you made plans to leave?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear. Arvin said that he would help me get out.
Right.
And so it's just figuring out where and when they're all leaving.
Okay. So it's possible then, and you guys can decide between yourselves, would you all leave in the morning and meet up with Valian, or would you all leave in the night in order to get away with her at the same time?
I'd be more likely to want to leave with Valian.
Yeah, together. There's safety in night.
Yeah. Because I feel like we're going to
The
get
other
asked
thing
questions
is-
if we stay around till morning.
I would know all of the secret passages and ways out. I've been doing this forever. I've never been willing to stay put. So
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense then that you guys would leave in the evening, or leave it during the black of night, so you could all leave together. So yeah, Valian is like a knock on your door, and Arvin is he's like suited and booted, I guess, in armor, and is wearing his sword. And he's like, time to go, I think.
all right. I gather my things and make sure I have everything I need, the things I had sort of been looking for, a couple of the less savory items that I always would try and grab while I was here, the stocks of, some of the shadier dealings around here, a couple of poisons, a couple of, the forgery type stuff, the stuff I know that I might need.
You may need
And,
when you're traveling in the north, forgeries,
Yeah.
poisons, the usual. It's whatever.
The usual. And I'm going to, secret them away where I secret things away.
Okay. So Arvin sort of, in fact, you probably lead the way for Arvin, seeing as you know all the secret passages around here.
Yeah.
And so it's probably just outside of the keep that you meet with Cicero, Kaylee, and Septim Birch, the co-conspirators, I guess. And you guys are there, ready. Would you be traveling with anyone else, i.e., Squire Roynard, Sir Donald Lee, or anyone else that you would have asked to accompany you, or is it just a group?
I think we invited the squire.
Oh, sorry, Sir Roynard, I should say. He is a landed knight.
Sir.
Yeah.
I think I probably would leave some sort of note for Donald Lee. You know, I know that marriage may need to happen for convenience sake. So I don't want to completely infuriate him. So
Right.
I think I would leave some sort of very ambiguous non-committal note about how I have to go. But he'll be in my thoughts, and I'll return at some point for him, you know. And until then, it's important that he care for the family that may someday be his, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, so this is like the equivalent of a ambiguous text as you ghost Sir Donald Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll maybe see each other soon. Like, he's like, do you want to meet up? And you're like, yeah, maybe 1 week.
Yeah, when my schedule is a little more open, and so Valiant is, yeah. She knows that there is a chance that she may have to have a marriage of convenience to him for the sake of the Thousand Swords. That's something that may have to happen. And she also knows that there's a way to do that might be less problematic than other solutions. She also knows he's just not bright enough to understand really what's happening.
Right. He
So
doesn't have too much mental wherewithal.
But he's
yeah,
sweet.
she's not trying to be malicious.
Isn't he? Everyone treats him like he's a piece of shit.
He's very sweet. He's a very, very sweet guy.
It's okay to date a dumb guy sometimes, all right? You know, they're like
Yeah,
puppy dogs.
absolutely. But
With like
It's,
super homoerotic overtones. Like, it's cool. Sorry. It's cool. He's a nice guy. He
he's
just
a
likes
very nice guy.
playing in the
He's
mud
just-
with some sturdy men with some long shafts of steel sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so, good guy. Yeah, alright, so you go to Donald Lee, is what's happening. And is Sir Roynard with you guys? I think that's maybe a Cicero decision, as he is, like, now your squire, I guess. Did you bring Sir Roynard with you?
Yeah, I think we agreed to bring him with us, and then Donald was going to stay behind and help train everyone.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
think
So
that
Donald
was
Lee,
the plan.
he's hopeless. He's not going with you. So yeah. It's actually funny because Donald Lee has like 7 in fighting. He's like a master swordsman, but no, he's an idiot. So anyway, we leave him behind. But Sir Roynard, who has a mighty fighting skill of 3, is coming with you, and so he's packed everything. He has. I actually gave him a level up from fighting 2 to fighting 3 for becoming a knight. But anyway, he's packed all your saddlebags. He's got everything ready. He's got all of the equipment, and he's sort of like, stolen away the horses from the stables and the like for you guys. And despite being a knight now, he has no real idea of exactly how to be a knight, and so he is doing what he knows best and being a squire. And so he's like, right, Lord Cicero, I've got everything, I think, packed on all the horses, and I've got the food and the water, and I think the only thing we're missing is and Velian shows up with Sarava and Oatkar. Oh, there they are. Oh, I mean, there they are, over there.
Cicero knows miraculously kind of exactly where to look and sees them coming out of this secret passageway. and turns to Sir Roynard and just says, "Thank you, Sir Roynard. Your service is much appreciated." And he really tries to emphasize the "sir" part of that.
Yeah.
And he'll kind of greet Valian and Sir Arvin as they approach. "Did you get through all right? Did anyone see you?"
I think we're fine, as far as I can tell. Unless suddenly they've discovered all the passageways, which would surprise me.
Something tells me that's not
Surprised
your
me
first
too.
time around them.
Good. If we've got everything, we should get on the road. Be
I
done
agree.
soon, and don't need it to be light as we're riding out the gates.
All right, we
Um,
have everyone.
Sir Roynard does a quick checklist. Sir Kaylee, Septon Birch, Lord Cicero, Lady Valian, McNair, and Sir Arvin Oakhart, and me. And all of the horses, and all of the food. Yes, that's everyone. That's everyone we could ever need, he says, looking to Emma. Right.
Cicero gives him a nod and moves over to mount up on his horse.
So yeah, the team mount up and head out the gates. Now it's easier. It would have been very easy for Cicero to mention to the guard to look the other way to get out the gate. After all, you are a lord here, so or a lordling rather. So yeah, you guys are out, riding off into the deadest of nights. So these lands, and for the next about 3 days or so, are what you would consider safe lands. Being McNair-owned territories which are patrolled by your own watchmen. However, I guess there's some reason to consider that perhaps you would want to go unseen entirely, perhaps even by your own forces, in case you would be stopped, possibly by your father, if Valian is concerned about being stopped. So what kind of level... throughout the night and through the next morning, what level of subterfuge are you guys taking to go unseen? Are you taking the main roads? Are you disguised? Or are you just saying, well, fuck it, I'm a lord, so, well...
I mean, I'm going to disguise myself because that's what I do.
Right.
Yeah, given that Cicero knows the McNairs are not in good standing with one of the most powerful houses in the north, I'd say he's going to try and keep everyone so that they can still see the road, but that they're in the woods deep enough that they wouldn't necessarily be seen from the road.
Right. Okay. Works fine. So, whoever is on watch, or who's on point as you travel through the McNair lands tonight, can roll me a awareness check with any bonuses in notice. And in fact, let's just have a whole team roll for this, why not? Because you guys are all on watch for that second argument. I will, let's just see. I feel like I had a command for this. Notes. Oh yeah, I do. I've got a dice, like cheat sheet thing, so you can do. That's the command again. /die space 46.
And with a bonus, it's you roll one number
so
higher
yes.
and then take away the lowest.
Correct. You take away the last number.
Okay.
From any bonus dice. It's like dice pool.
He's a master of disguise.
So that's
No one can see me.
18.
You'll never find me.
I'm just wearing this massive knight armor over here. I'm so shiny, nothing reflects off me. Wait, what? Okay, wow, okay, so...
I didn't spend the night buffing out my armor.
Squire, hand me that shiner over there.
Boy!
Grease. Boy!
Boy.
Squire Royn's just got like a chamois leather, and he's just buffing you out like you're a car bonnet on a Sunday afternoon, and then he hoses you down. Like he's helping his dad wash the family car. It's a beautiful image of the day before. So, don't know why I went there, but anyway, so Cicero McNair, you are the first to spot, and the rest of you do shortly thereafter as well. As the group of you travel on horse, following the roads, if not being directly on them, for the whole travel, especially into the morning when footfall's starting to pick up. By the time it's around 10 a.m., you've yet to see anyone along the road. However, about a couple of things you notice, in fact. The first thing is that, Cicero, you spot a fairly heavy amount of horse traffic. What's the word I'm looking for? Tracks, rather. Like hoof prints. Goodness, don't know why that word was so hard. Along this road. And they are as recent as probably earlier this morning, like a matter of hours. And judging by the amount of footfall, you suggest about 6 horses, which could indicate a patrol of McNair's having passed this way. The other thing that you'll spot... Oh, and I should say the only thing which is different about it is that the footprints, or hoofprints rather, do not go with the road, they go across the road. So some 6 horsemen crossed the road further into the woods, rather than went down the road and followed the track as you would normally do. So there's something a little bit more interesting about that. And the other thing that you would notice is that in the distance down the end of the road, there appears to be a lone rider who is headed your way. When I say distance, probably a couple hundred feet.
Cicero very quickly stops and holds up his hand to motion for the rest of the group. Same, and reach and pulls out his sword and kind of nudges his horse slowly forward, trying to keep it as quiet as he can.
Let me see. M-A-G. No, I'm not.
Kaylee's gonna just continue kind of like sliding up next to them as we walk up, and what do you think of that?
Don't know. It's not very safe for someone to be traveling alone, but then again, if they are, they might be dangerous.
True. Just looks over at Valian.
I think that we should be cautious. I'm going to go stand by. And I'm going to go kind of hide behind a tree. Just sort of backing everybody up.
Do we know of any others heading to Last Hearth right now, besides McNair crew, to ask for backup? Like, is there some kind of grander meeting going on of the Lords, or is this out of character for what we understand?
Right, so... breaking into a couple of questions. You don't know of any, like, larger meeting or council happening. This is word has been sent ahead by you guys, like, hey, we're going to come and ask for supplicants, basically. But you're not expecting like a great amount of travel to Last Hearth. The other thing is that you are a long way from Last Hearth, so it would be impossible to tell anyone on this road would be going to Last Hearth. In fact, the probability is that they're not, because you would take the river, and you guys are yet to reach that point where you're headed in that direction. The other thing I would say is that the horse hoofprints were headed towards McNair Hall, rather than in any direction. So if you were to follow that road for another day or so, the horseman would have gone that way. So you probably missed them by a narrow margin somewhere in the night, or they stopped to make camp somewhere in the woods.
So Kaylee's going to turn back to Cicero. Perhaps we don't go charging in swords at the ready. They might just be a farmer or someone that lives nearby. Play it nice. Can't be suspicious of everyone.
If they're a farmer, I'll be sure to put my sword away. Being suspicious of everyone is how we stay alive.
And he kind of waves for Sir Arvin to come up and join him. As kind of the only other person that he really trusts to mess some people up if he needs to.
You notice that he had moved towards to like defend the I guess not, he wasn't standing in front of the tree, but he had moved in such a position to be between anyone and the tree behind which Valian has gone to hide behind. So you'd have noted that he had already moved into like a defensive positioning there, but he nods as you indicate to ride up, and he brings his horse into line of yours and has a hand upon his sword. As the rider approaches, you can see that it does not appear to be a male figure upon the horse. Indeed, you can tell, even from this distance as they get closer and closer, that it is a dark-haired woman who is coming towards you upon this horse. And she looks like she's probably been riding throughout the night as well. And you would recognize her, Cicero at the very least, and Valian certainly as well. You'd recognize this woman to be Lady Sophina Blackwood, the last. Sorry.
Was she ever? She wasn't ever involved though directly in my torture, right?
Correct. She, if anything, I would say that Lady Sophina would have tried to assist you in some manner, or at the very least showed you some kindness, which the other Blackwoods wouldn't have. In whatever manner that would have. And feel free to improv off of that if you want to have some kind of background in that. But she's approaching, and it is certainly a big surprise to see a noble lady out on her own, and indeed, very scandalous as well. Arvin grips his sword even tighter and looks towards you.
Yeah,
Blackwoods.
There's not much that could make me more wary than seeing a Blackwood. This is a little too convenient here.
Are you two being subtle in your approach? Have you revealed yourselves at this point?
No, at this point I'd say
I'm still hiding. So
not you.
You could definitely roll me a perception check, Sophina, if you. It's actually awareness with any bonuses in notice.
I have a 3 in awareness. I'm not in the fantasy grounds, so I will just roll physical dice.
Sorry, I'm bad. Yep.
That's fine. That's a 3, and a 6. I don't know how this works.
So 3, and a 6. So what's that? 8. God. I said that as if I confidently knew 12. How to do math. But I clearly don't. 3, and a 6. Yeah, I know how to do fucking math. Yeah, 12. So we can have. If you guys are hiding, we can roll stealth checks.
Okay.
We adding any bonuses to this? Or just
bonuses in concealment, if that's one. Or...
That's a 12, but I am disguised, so.
Yep. I'll roll one for Arva as well, because I tell you, he is shit at hiding. But he's about as good as Cicero. So here's what you spot. And we'll give the tie on the 12 to Valian, seeing as she's like hidden behind a tree, so it makes it a little bit harder. And the rest of you guys are on horse. So, yeah, Kaylee, you will spot Lady Seraphina just sort of off to the side of the road, I guess. There are at least 4 horsemen who are in those woods. And by the colors that they wear, even if at this range you can't exactly see their faces in the shade of the trees, you can tell them to be McNairs. And by the nature of them standing where they are, it's likely that they have spotted you. What does Sophina do?
She will have her horse slowly start approaching towards the woods, getting to the edge of the road closer to them. And as she gets to the edge of the road, dismount.
Okay.
I'm gonna whisper.
Hello there.
Oh.
I can see you.
Yeah, as she approaches, Cicero kind of brings his sword around. He hasn't sheathed his sword yet, but he rides up a bit closer.
Blackwood, a day's ride from McNair lands. What brings you out here, Lady Sophina?
Well, you should know that all too well, shouldn't you? Those letters you're writing.
Cicero just kind of has an oh shit moment as he realizes that Sir Donald Lee has been
Texting this girl for you.
It takes her coming up behind Kaylee, like slides in next to the situation on her horse.
I love how Kaylee's. This is great. That every way that Kaylee moves is sliding.
And just
My
kind
love
of
for
rolling
you
his
pierces my my love for you pierces your heart like my lance through your brother's heart. That was you, was it not?
Yes. So grabs it and sheathes the sword just before dismounting. Kind of strides over very warily and extends his.
Oven's coming with you for the record as well. He has
Good.
He has drawn his sword rather than sheathed it.
He kind of walks over and extends his arm with a very stern look, and you can tell this is going to be one of those handshakes where you like clasp arms and see if the other one has a weapon.
Yeah, she will shake your hand, and as she does so, she will also just sort of more gently put her hand at like the base of your neck. The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of shifts his head a little bit, but he's like, all right, I gotta play it cool with this.
And she only does it for a second and pulls back and says, "It is good to finally see you in person up close."
I regret to say I missed your face at the tourney, but and again we couldn't stay for long.
Kaylee clears her throat. Going to introduce us to your friend, Cicero. You seem quite known with them.
Cicero clears his throat and just kind of turns.
Friends, this is Lady Sophina Blackwood.
Kaylee gets off of her horse and walks over and extends a hand and stands very tall in herself to Sophina. Nice to meet you, my lady.
She shakes your hand and looks you directly in the eye with a kind of a curious glance. Says, "You as well, Sir Kaylee, is that right?"
That's right, yes.
I was quite impressed
Kaylee.
with your display.
Were you? I suppose it was quite a show for everyone, wasn't it?
Aye.
So, out here on your own. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Well, sorry, I hate to ask this so bluntly, but is everyone among you able to be trusted?
He smiles. Looks at... I don't know, Cicero, what do you think? Among those present, who could we trust?
I could name someone that I don't trust if you like, my lord. He looks very directly at Lady Sophina. Got a small list I'll put together.
Cicero kind of puts his hand down and says,
That won't be necessary, Sir Arvin.
and then his eyes drift over to the Septon, and he just narrows them very slightly and says,
You can trust everyone here.
It's the most anime moment for Cicero as it zooms in on his eyes, narrowing in on Septon from like 100
Giant,
feet
like,
away.
sweat pops on Septon's head.
Omae Shinderu.
So, oh Jesus. So, Valiant, what disguise have you got on at this point?
Just kind of generic. Probably some sort of like choir. I probably would choir for Kaylee. I'd go dress in choir for Kaylee at this point. Kaylee is nice.
Is there any particular name that you attach to it that I would
Yeah.
that I'd call you by? Or?
Go with for Arlie. L-I.
Again,
So Cicero-
you're coming in a little muffled, just for me.
Yeah. No, it's a little weird on my end as well.
I think they mean your mic. To hear.
Yeah, just your mic.
My mic?
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe it's that you're a little far away from it. Maybe that's it.
Okay. I don't know.
I hear you a lot better now. I just missed the name, and I'm writing it down for my own.
Arlie.
Arlie.
You're still a muffled. Check maybe the cord is plugged in all the way or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
like- Oh, now it's good.
It does sound a lot better when you're close. It could be just a distance thing that's
Okay.
muffling you a little bit.
That's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Cicero kind of calls over to the tree and just says,
Ali, you can come out now. And this is one of our more recent knights, Sir Roynard.
Pleasure to make all of your acquaintance.
A lady.
Well, I suppose I wasn't expecting to.
Does not take her eyes off of Lady Sophina.
Yes.
She kind of looks at you for a second, and she's addressing sort of everyone, but she keeps looking at you, trying to see something there, something familiar.
You're gonna have a heck of a time.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, this is what I do.
hmm No, I'm not saying she sees through it. I'm just saying you are staring at her and she is glancing back, concerned a little bit.
It's not often you see a lady by herself in the woods, so...
Especially not one trespassing on our lands.
Forgive me. I received those letters from the young lord and thought perhaps he'd welcome me. I'm sorry if that's wrong.
Cicero kind of looks around to Sir Ivan.
Yeah, I fortunately can't say she's trespassing if she was in some turn of the phrase invited. Or at least welcome.
Right you are, my lord.
I'll be honest with you, Cicero, if I may call you that. If my father approved of me being here, I wouldn't be here alone.
I thought that might be the case. None of you Blackwoods leave the house without a full detail of guards.
Aye.
There you are, you made it all this way safe. So I'm not to believe you're without contacts.
Also true. There are people in House Blackwood who are generous, kind.
That's
Some
news.
who don't speak of my father, of course, or anyone too loyal to him. And again, those are few in number these days.
Very well. We catch us in the middle of a bit of a dangerous journey. Can't say it's one you want to go on. You sure as hell won't be welcome back at McNair House or your own house. Either know that I've met up. So that
No,
leaves you stuck
well-
with us.
For the moment, I suppose. I imagine my father wouldn't be happy to see me back. But he couldn't turn me away either. I'm blood after all. If I
Aye.
were to come back with... Pardon the forwardness. New husband, new alliance.
Kitty coughs a little bit and like looks at them.
Yeah, Cicero gives a very stiff smile, trying to play into this image that Sir Donald Lee has dreamed up for him. And just says, things to be discussed. And turns very sharply. And then kind of like remembers himself and turns back and is like, would you like some help up onto your horse?
Are we leaving already?
We don't have too much time. We're going to see the Umbers.
The Ambers? What for?
Seems that there was more than one house in the north, more than just your family that was dissatisfied with my actions at the tourney. And while your family's trouble enough, the Boltons are significantly more powerful and more of a threat. So we need help.
seeking another alliance then.
We'll see.
Right. Yes, I could use some help back up on my horse.
This being the answer that Cicero had not hoped for, he kind of leads her back over the horse and extends his right arm to help her back up.
I feel like doing this, like Kaylee kind of mutters to herself as she's like getting back on her horse. How do you roll on her own and can't even get on the goddamn horse by herself? Gods. As long as she.
She, as like Cicero's helping her, she like very clearly is like holding on to his arms as like longer than necessary. Kaylee would probably get the impression she could get on her horse if she wanted to.
My lord, at your Sholus's ways, I'd be more than happy to accompany Lady Sophina back to Blackwood Hall, or at least to the end of the McNair lands.
I would agree over here. It seems a bit odd to just pick up a random lady to take us on this mission.
We're in agreement too, Lord.
How do we know she's not a spy?
Whatever your decision, I suggest we figure it out quickly. If her father is truly the authoritarian he seems to be, he must have scouts out looking for her now.
Aye, Septon, we best be on the way. I tend to trust her, in that the Blackwoods are too vain to send one of their own to be a spy. They'd send someone expendable. Oh, I think she came here of her own accord.
JJ, what am I doing here?
JJ, what is Lady Sophina doing here? All right,
I'm
so
just
you
trying to get
mount up.
married.
Just trying to get married, bro. Hey, let sister get married. Come on. Slim pickings out here in the north, let me tell you. So, okay, yep. So you guys saddle up and continue. Now, this is a very uncomfortable journey. One would assume from this point onwards, for for everyone. Probably most of all, Lady Sophina, you very quickly get the sense that you are not wanted here. Certainly by most of the party, and it seems like Cicero is bringing you along for some form of obligation. Possibly he feels bad for you, but certainly you are getting daggers from this hulk of a man, of an Oakheart, who does not take his eyes from you at any point, and you think that if you're alone with him for a couple of minutes, he may well just kill you if he had the opportunity. And certainly, I think the rest of the party are uncomfortable, at very least, at your presence as you continue down the road. For the course of most of the rest of the day, you guys can travel unhindered and without coming across really anyone else along the road. A couple of farmers, a couple of peasants, and the like will be making their way through these roads. It is a fairly well-populated area, going from village to village and that kind of thing, onto the market, but no patrols. So at this point, I would like
go
ahead, Haley.
Cicero,
Yeah.
and say, I don't understand why we're not killing her on sight. No one would know.
She could be a valuable resource.
For what?
If we kill her, we can't get anything from the Blackwoods. We wouldn't have anything that they want. At least now we do.
What are we going to get from the Blackwoods? What do they have that we want? There is nothing.
Something to be achieved by.
Level.
Something
We're
to be
trying to
achieved
keep
by
from-
both houses. Neither of us have it, but it's peace. If I can prevent this war,
You think they're going to honor her? anything at all. Any piece of this. You know what they did to me? You know what they did to you? They've not shown us a bit of trustworthiness. And a kind snake is a snake nonetheless. I say we get rid of her now. I say we should have gotten rid of her before she could have approached. And I right away.
Cicero just kind of clenches his jaw a little bit and pushes on. To some extent, he agrees with her, but he's trying to do what he feels is best for his home.
Okay. So if it's probably about midway into the afternoon of the first day of travel, before we need everybody to roll another awareness with any bonuses in notice. And I give this to all the party again because basically you're all on watch while you're riding together.
Nine.
10.
18.
Okay. All right. So, and a 14 from Kaylee's. Cicero again is keen-eyed while on the roads today. It's Cicero and Kaylee. Sorry, what did you roll, Sophina?
9.
9. Okay. Yeah. So it is just Cicero and Kaylee, who spot ahead that there is a bridge, and just across this bridge, where it runs over a small river. It is part of the last river, though it is not the main fording point, I guess. The river isn't at its strongest at this point. It's more like a tributary, I guess was the word I was looking for. A small little tributary. A little bridge which runs over it. On this bridge, there appear to be two gentlemen. And both of these gentlemen, from a distance that you're at right now, you can tell are armed. You do not recognize them to be wearing any kind of insignia, as in house colors. They do not wear McNair house colors. They do not wear any other house colors. But there are two men who are on the bridge, and the only way forwards really is this bridge, unless you wanted to take another day's journey around, because unfortunately there aren't many bridges in your area because you don't have a very high defense. You only have roads built in your area, basically. So, yeah, that's the kind of situation as it stands. They don't have these swords drawn, but they stand opposite from one another in conversation on this bridge. And they don't appear to have spotted you. As you know the area pretty well, somebody is probably scouting and keeping an eye ahead on the road. So that's what you see right now.
Cicero kind of goes to catch up with Valian and whispers to her, "Do you think you'd have some time to, make me not look myself?"
Of course.
Good.
But know that if you're doing this in front of her, she's gonna know more about us than you might want.
I didn't say we have to do it in front of her. I can get her. Oh, I can get our good friend the Septon to occupy her. Maybe he can find something out.
Fair enough.
And with that, he kind of calls the Septon over.
Why don't you strike up a conversation with Lady Sophina there? See if we can really trust her.
Of course, young lord. Is there anything in particular you'd like me to ask or not ask about?
See if you can find out who got her out of the castle. She couldn't have done it by herself. We didn't know if we have any more allies within the Blackwood walls.
I'll speak with her. And Birch will turn and approach young Lady Safina for a nice little conversation.
Okay.
Cicero kind of takes Phelan to go find some secluded spot away from the group.
Katie
Okay,
probably just like leans over to a tree and just kind of waits on everyone, just hanging out.
Yeah, you're probably there with Arvin and Soroinid at this point. Okay, so let's go with Birch and Lady Sophina then, as it seems like the group is splitting up for maybe a mid-afternoon break.
Birch will approach, and he gets close enough to Safina to draw her attention. He will just bow a bit towards her and say, "My apologies for a late introduction. Things have been a bit, well, tense, as you can tell, with everyone. I am Birch, Septon Birch. It is an honor to make your formal acquaintance, young Lady Safina."
Ah, yes, the Septon. Of course. Good to meet you as well. What can I do for you?
Well, it's just... Pay no mind to how, like I said, high tension people are. It is truly beautiful what someone like you would do for young love. It's just... It brings a smile to my face to see the lengths we go to for each other. It couldn't have been no easy feat to get out of the watchful eye of your father. Are you okay? Have you been alone for long?
No. I was not alone for too long. A farmer gave me passage in his cart. Let me take one of his horses on his own. And, well, wasn't wandering too far off after that.
That's fantastic. That's beautiful. This farmer, recognizing the very own Lady Safina, allowed you to pass unnoticed. That's quite something.
There are many in the Blackwood walls that don't particularly like the way that Lord Ulrich operates. Not quite proud of my dear old dad, you see. And rumors get about. People like me more than like him.
That's so, is it? You know, if you really want to woo your way into the young lord's heart, he needs to understand that, of course, you're here for love, but he's a good boy. He truly is. He wants to see an end to this war, peace. You need to speak to him about what your union could do, these whispers amongst your people. What you can truly do to help the McNairs. Please, just be forthright and honest with him.
Of course. All I truly want is to see peace for our people. To not have tyrants ruling on thrones, to not have men being sent off to die for a cause they hardly even believe in. I want to give him something to believe in.
That's beautiful. Is there any way I can do an awareness check to see if I actually believe Safina's story
you can.
here?
Okay, so
Sure.
is Safina telling the whole truth here? Is this a deception, or is this a more honest trying to get someone to believe what you're saying?
I mean, it's definitely one of those.
Okay, so you will either roll let me find my sheets. I closed them some. Goodness knows why reason. a persuasion or a deception check, depending on which you feel like it is. And you will roll any awareness with any bonuses and empathy.
Awesome.
Septon.
Cool. I have a 3 awareness and 1 empathy. So top 3 of these. So 13 overall.
Okay.
She is telling the truth.
Okay. You get an honest read off a Septon Birch.
Okay.
In fact,
He,
here's what I'll give you. You
Okay.
As you mention, like the prospect of peace, you can see like there's a slight flicker in her eyes about, sort of like what she was thinking about, what her focus was, and as soon as she started talking about, bringing peace and not letting people die, you could tell that was coming from the heart. You're 100% sure of it. Definitely. I didn't say what I rolled.
Okay, great. Then Birch will lean in close to you and just say, "Safety for ourselves and our people. It's what we all want, young lady. I'll speak to the Lord, put in a good word for you, and if I can help you in any way, I'd be glad to. He deserves someone like you."
I truly would like the chance to talk to him alone at some point. To really, I suppose, get to know him better, but I can understand why he might be wary. Blackwood in these parts. I don't want to scare him off either.
We'll see what we can arrange then. And Birch will just kind of nod and call it good on that, having some sort of read on Lady
Okay.
Sophina as kind of this idealistic young lady.
All right. So off over in the woods is Cicero and Valian McNair, and you guys can see as you guys are in cover, you can still see those 2 men on the bridge, seem to be in conversation with one another still. But you're far enough away to be able to have a private conversation from everyone, including those 2.
All right, what do you want to look like?
Just, different enough so I won't be recognized. I want to start with covering this up, and he kind of motions to the scar on his face from where Michael just slashed his cheek to bits.
Yep.
If that's doable.
All right. So I'll go ahead and start working my magic and disguise him. I'll adjust his clothes so they don't look like, they're not nobleman's clothes, and just all.
Yep.
I'll do what I do.
Alrighty.
Is that a disguise?
It's a disguise roll, yeah.
So that's 5 plus. So I dropped 2 off of that, so it's a 21.
21. Yeah, you look positively peasantish, Cicero, as by the time that your sister is finished with your makeup and your disguise. Your hair is ruffled, your coat is not as fine, and yeah, you probably have had a change of clothes, really, so that you don't look like because you can spot a nobleman's attire from a mile off because it's not ragged and terrible. So you had changed clothes, so you look pretty common now. Do you still wear a sword on your hip?
I'm gonna say he's going to try and conceal that in one of the saddlebags, and he can take whatever, like his doublet or whatever he has on off, and just have the shirt underneath. But regardless, he's gonna keep the gloves on as well.
Okay. All right. So you were changed, and I guess you return back to the group, and you guys barely recognize Cicero.
God, you really are good at that, Valiant.
Thanks. You learned some interesting lessons here and there.
Well,
Cicero he's just kind of standing there, very shuffling his feet, tending to his horse a little bit.
Is Sophina there to see this too?
No, this is we deliberately sent the captain to take you away from this.
Okay.
you guys are having a tea party over in the other part of the road.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's the plan then, Cicero the poet?
Well, we're gonna have Lady Blackwood there act as our ticket across the river.
Didn't we just have the conversation about how we weren't going to let her know that this is something that we could do? I agreed that I only agreed to disguise you if she wasn't going to get that information. These are the things that
could have
make
been
my
me.
life. I know them.
Could have been me that did it. You never know. What matters is that the guards don't recognize me.
All right.
So what do we tell her then? You've taken a liking to dirt.
Just taking the necessary precautions. And if that's a like in the dirt, then so be it. I don't want us coming this far only to get killed by those two over there.
See if we could
Again.
fight them.
I asked why we don't just take care of her now. I don't
She is...
understand the logic of keeping someone with us whose loyalties we are unsure of, whose family has proven traitorous, who have caused deliberate harm to both you and me and our family.
She's a resource. And if we're to use that same mode of thinking, we might as well throw the Septon in the river too.
No, deception we know
He
to be
serves-
useful.
Exactly.
He hasn't shown us any use at all.
We could keep
Her
her
last
hostage
name.
if it falls there. Sorry, Cicero.
It's alright, Kaylee, that's... Fortunately, along the lines of what I was going to say. Her house name is her usefulness.
If we keep her, then we can't let her go
You know how I feel about hostages.
unless it's through death.
If it comes to that, very well.
I know you're eager, but for this moment here, I think it's best we just keep her. Use her. Some worth of the body. We'll decide later on what to do.
Bailey and I know what they did to you, and I know this is hard. But this might be the only way that we can survive. Not just you and me, but our house. War is on our doorstep. She might be the key to stopping it.
She was never a key to it. And if she was the key to all of it, and why did they just keep her out? Why keep it alive? She appeared out of nowhere.
You're breaking up a little again for us, Jen. I think we really.
Yeah,
Let me see if I have a different set of headphones. Give me 1 second.
It's
Okay.
Let's try these. 1 second.
So you're coming through clear now. It's like in and out for some reason.
I think it's
wonder
the
if
mic,
we-
like having it, just having it like more directly into your, where you're like
Yeah, let me.
talking
let
into
me
the whole of
swallow
it.
Oh my god, you guys are killing me in chat.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
Like in the middle of the serious scene, and then I look over and it's just...
Yeah, I have to stop looking in during scenes now. It's too funny.
How's that sound? Everyone's good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I hope we hear.
It seems strange to me that she would appear in the middle of nowhere. That suddenly you're convinced that she is the key to all of these things. It just all seems a bit too convenient, particularly when we've just discovered other information. This route.
There was previous talk of this arrangement, though it does seem odd for her to turn up here. I'm not quite sure what all was written in your letters.
I'm not either. But she felt it necessary to come, so... whatever Sir Donald Lee was writing, it must have been good. And I have it on his word as well that we can trust her.
2. Cicero. We've been warned about this. We've been told repeatedly that there's someone trying to betray us. Why are we trusting this? There's no logic to it. There's no logic to this. And you're endangering all of us.
And by your logic, we kill another one of the Blackwood children. Give them more reason to be angry at us. They probably already assume that we've kidnapped her. But at least that's what's keeping us safe. If they find her dead, if they think that she's dead,
She's out in the woods on her own. She made a choice.
they don't know that.
There could have been bandits. There could have been any number of things that she ran into in the woods.
Aye. And no matter what it is, they'll blame it on us. So all I can say is thank God we found her first. You know the Blackwoods.
I
She
know the
doesn't seem
Blackwoods.
like the rest of them.
I think you're wrong.
It's the best we have right now. Her and the Umbers. Those are our only hopes.
Is Sarav and Okar part of this conversation?
I think, yeah, I
He was
think
with
so. I
Kaylee,
think we
yeah.
sent the
Yeah.
we sent him off by himself.
Okay, yeah, he's been listening then, and his, I guess, sentiment probably echoes, at least not in voice, but certainly in like temperament towards agreeing with Valian. You see him put what you would likely think a slightly overly familiar hand on her shoulder. As Valian gets more, like, I guess, upset about this. And he says, "You don't have to like it, but it is your decision, my lord."
TJ, what am I doing here?
Says Lady Sophina again. It's those guys.
And Cicero kind of coming to this paramount realization just gives as much of a sympathetic and still stern look to Bailey and says, "Aye, that it is."
I will defer to you on this, Cicero, for now. But if she gives me a single reason to distrust her, and I let the end of that sentence hang. And I turn and I walk away.
Well, before these bridgemen notice us here lingering, I suppose we should get along with our business.
Oh, do you want to proceed, my lord?
Yeah, sorry, I'm having mic troubles a little bit here, but Cicero nods.
Aye. Let's run Lady Blackwood through the plan.
Alright. So you guys rejoin Lady Blackwood and Septon Birch.
Pleasant conversations there, Birch.
Ah, yes, just discussing with the lady her journey here and all its peril, but happy to be united as one group. Is this, looking at the disguised dirty Cicero, so this then, young lord, is...
He's going through a phase,
What-
you know.
Oh. I think you've won her heart already, Cicero. You don't have to impress her anymore.
Cicero just kind of smirks and says, "Well, it's not exactly who I'm worried about impressing, or at least I'm not wanting to impress the guards over there with the fact that I am the Lord of the McNair House. No, indeed," turns to Lady Sophina. "Your family owns this river. Not sure if word of your absence is going to be reached.
You might to reposition your mic as well, there, Joseph. You're sounding a little
Yeah.
Yeah.
muffly. I think it's a
Plug in and
positional
plug
thing.
out.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, my stand is deciding to fall over on me at this point. So I'll run through this and then try and get it fixed. But yeah, he just,
If they have figured out that you are gone, we need to be prepared to run across. This river is our only way to get past to the lands of the Umber.
I can help. Like you said, my family owns this river. I've been down it many a time. If you're going to House Umber, I know a way in. They used to have us take the back roads sometimes when there was threat of war. We didn't feel safe.
Very well. See if you can prove your worth to us. Get us across this river. We'll discuss the back roads on the other side.
She sort of smiles at you and looks down a little sadly when you just sort of turn away.
So, who's approaching the bridge then? Because it's pretty much across this bridge or a day north of travel. Seems like we're in disguise and ready to go with at least Cicero. Is anyone else going with him? Or Cicero, do you intend to go alone?
I feel like we'd all probably in our
You're all going
little
together.
party. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Zoro
so.
is he's moved towards the back of the group, so as not to seem like he has any authority.
If
yeah, he's-
if we're all going through, I don't know who. If you did that trick on yourself there, Cicero, but I could probably use a little bit of dirt myself.
Very well, and he kind of in his the best way he knows how after watching Valian do his makeup, he kind of rubs a gloved hand on the ground and just kind of smears some dirt on Sophia's
Okay,
face.
Amy's gonna kind of like stop for a minute as they're doing this. Why do you need to be dirty for this if they're going to know you for us to cross?
Cicero looks back at her like, good point.
Agreed, sir.
I wasn't
Thank you.
offering my name, as although my house has power here, me showing up alone or attended by, well, 4 knights not flying my own house's banner, be far more suspicious. No, I can help you when we get past the bridge.
Golds, we should have just killed them. She kind of like mumbles to herself, like moving away. This doesn't seem like a very good plan at all.
Valian agrees with her knight.
So we are a motley crew with a couple of peasants dirt rubbed in their faces.
I don't like it. I'm gonna laugh her up, but he's also fairly. There's. I guess this probably just goes to more like the law of the world. There is definitely a line in which a knight should not question further the rule of their lord, which we saw Captain Andoran cross to his death. Yeah.
I will say, Will,
more to this.
if I would know a better way to get there without going past this bridge,
Here's what
I
I'd
would
say
offer
is,
that too.
once you reach the last river, Lady Sophina can get you across, or even through the river, possibly. You know the ferryman there, pretty much.
Okay.
But this being the tributary is pretty deeply within like what would have been enemy lands, or at least foreign lands for Lady Sophina. So, yeah, even you are pretty unfamiliar with this area, at least. You know that if you were to travel another 2 days eastwards, you reach the river, and then you know where you are. But yes. Okay, so the group approaches. And
Let's have a moment to talk to Arvin before we cross, as we sort ourselves
Okay.
in this, to just to have some order in this chaos as it comes. Why don't we put our dirty little friends back behind us, Arvin, and you, myself, and it's not Squire, Saronid, take our place
Oh,
here.
me? Oh, yeah, yes. Oh,
So
right.
if things do
yeah.
fall, surely wouldn't be being led by, well, peasants,
Right.
as it were, and look as normal as we can in this passing.
All right.
We have no
Good
reason
idea.
to raise a question. We just remotely, not even really remotely, we got our septum, pretty lady, and
Hey, let's say that we're just assisting the Septon on his travels. As a holy man, folks
exactly
won't ask too many questions,
with a
hopefully.
few of his followers behind us,
Yes.
deeply devoted.
Probably just a couple of peasants who are too drunk to attend the fields. All right. And Arvin goes forward with you and Squire Royned, Sir Royned. Ironic. So the group proceeds until a bridge. The two men come into sight. They do indeed look to be lone-born men. They are jacketed and do have swords on their hips, which is certainly cause for a question at the very least. If being a lord of this land, no one's allowed to carry a sword unless you say that they can. So at best, they are perhaps concerned citizens. At worst, perhaps these men are bandits or worse. You spot them as you get close to the bridge, and one of them nods to the other to draw the attention of the group of you approaching. And one of them speaks to you in a clearly local accent. And he says, "Who goes there?" And he stands with his friend quite objectionably in the center of the bridge.
Kaylee sits up straight in her seat. Just a band aiding a septum on his journey here, wishing to cross this beautiful river.
Birch kind of nods his head, waves, gives them a big smile.
Oh, the Septon. What tell of this preacher? Well, you should know that there's a toll to cross this river.
And what toll do you seek upon us there?
He looks you up and down, sees the finery of the some of the weapons that you guys are holding, the armor that you're wearing. 10 silver stags.
10 silver stags.
It's for the lord of this place.
Bulls. A couple of honorable men as yourself wouldn't take that.
Lord McNair ordered us, anyone crossing this bridge, to pay a toll.
Did he? Well, it is times we've had. Makes sense. What do you say?
Sir, might I ask a question of you, sir? For Kaylee? Is it not what I was taught was that the sections are allowed to cross wherever they would like without a toll? Is that incorrect? Those are the laws as I was taught them.
Afraid so, lad, no one's allowed to pass, especially Septons. They get tolled extra.
But the bringers of the word of the gods.
Quiet the simpleton, if you would, Sir Knight.
But it's been said that it will invoke the wrath of the gods if those who represented them were forced to.
Well,
He rolls his eyes and looks at the Septon.
I'm trying to do some convincing and charming here.
Feel free to roll me a charm convince. It's going to be difficult because he doesn't believe in these gods.
So 4, 5, 6, and so it's 6, and then I get to add 2 on top of that. So it's
So 8 minus the bottom 2.
6, So it's 86 minus, and then I drop the bottom 2.
Yeah, and then drop the lowest 2.
So I'll drop a 1 and a 2.
Yep. So down to 22. He looks at the Septon, who perhaps has some wisdom in his eyes, or looks like a holy man at least. He's wearing Septon's robe. Well, we wouldn't want to anger the gods. All right. 8 silver stags. You can pass.
And just
As
for
per
reference,
Lord
like, do we
instructions?
how
Go
much
ahead.
money is this? Like, for reference to like what we would have. on this?
It's a kingly sum is 10 silver stags. Or at the very least, it's a knightly sum. I think they have in the book like exactly how much you would earn. So this is probably more than a peasant would earn in a year that he's asking for right now.
Right. Kaylee's gonna step down from her horse, and she's not small, like she's a taller woman, and approach them, like, very level-headed in this. Surely, as you see, we are on a great mission here with the Septim. But you would perhaps find it in your heart for something for us to do, other than give you such silver. You see,
You could tell me this. Where is it that you're headed?
well, septums, as it were. Well, you know what, Septum Birch, how many places have we stopped now? It seems nearly every town you must go and spread your word, right?
Oh my. We've been to Pink Maiden, we've been to Windish Town, we've been to Stone Mill, we've been all across the great lands of the north. And all we wish to do is see more of them, spreading the word of the gods. I understand you have a job to do, but my friends, so do we. A job on a cosmic scale for the very souls of Westeros.
I see. As it so happens, the Lord under the mountain has no love for your new gods. But suppose you can pass for now. Final offer, 7 stags. And no one gets hurt.
Kaylee shifts her weight.
He feels very confident to you for 2 men on a bridge right now. You feel way too confident.
Kaylee shifts her weight and kind of like goes and like rests her hand just on the top of her sword. I don't think that we're the ones that are going to worry about getting hurt, my dear sir. And I think that it'd be best if we were to pass. Can I get an intimidation?
Yeah, roll an intimidate.
What do I need to roll?
Let's see. I think intimidate comes under persuasion.
Okay.
I think it's a persuasion intimidate.
Can I stand behind her to assist in this?
Yeah, I think an assist gives you 1 bonus dice.
All right, what do I roll? Because I'm so used to like roll 20 now after.
Yeah, no worries.
everything
I suppose, yeah. So you have, I'll show us here, /die space 3d6. You have 2 in persuasion, you get 1 bonus dice from the assist. So minus 1, so yeah, it says 8 in total. Yeah, he looks you up and down with some disdain, largely because probably because he sees you as a female knight, of which there are very few in the kingdom. So he doesn't. You can tell he doesn't respect you. Probably much the Septon same way as well, being resembling the new gods. I'm afraid that 7 silver stags, my very last offer, for the Lord under the mountain, calls for some other kind of tithe. I want Cicero and, in fact, just Cicero at this point to roll me a knowledge.
I was
Yeah.
I was that close to asking, who the hell
And
is the Lord under the mountain?
And I'm going to give you the bonus in Streetwise that you have there,
Okay.
which will become
Let's
clear.
see.
Possibly. So 10.
So that's 10?
Yes, the Lord Under the Mountain is a title which hasn't been held in a very long time. In fact, in all honesty, your father should be known as the Lord Under the Mountain, but it's actually an older title, one that stems back from the McNairs of yore. In this case, he is referencing Greg McNair, who is one of the Mountain Men and original, let's say, descended from bandits, as the McNairs are, original sort of clansman, I guess, who's still knocking around. And he is part of the sort of, I guess, fake McNairs that we talked about a little bit in Session 0, the sort of offshoot group who are born of barbarism and tend towards banditry. And Greg is this figure who never comes down from the mountain, really. He doesn't attend the feasts and festivals. And there is a somewhat begrudging trust or peace between your two people. Like, for the most part, they're just a bunch of bandits. You know, they number probably under 100 people who would be, you know, part of this tribe. So they would, you know, it's a bit like saying, well, he's my real king. Him saying that Greg claiming that he's Lord of the Mountain is, in its own way, is invalidating Sir Brian McNair's claim that he is the McNair of McNair Hall. So, it's treason, is what it is. Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
So having this bit of knowledge just pop into his mind, Cicero takes his horse forward a little bit and says, "If I'm not mistaken, this king under the mountain you speak of is not really the lord of this land. And with, well, 1, 2 knights of McNair Hall here, you'd openly admit to supporting him?"
Supporting him? Why, I would die for him, son.
I'm not
As
your
would
son.
they. And he points over your shoulder. From the trees, you see about 6 horsemen who are coming from the woods. And they're not charging towards you, but they are certainly moving towards a group of you from behind. You see 6, and indeed they do look like mountain men. You know, they are big, rugged individuals with long cloaks. And, you know, they very much harken back to that old McNair, we're from the mountains and we stay up here kind of vibe. Craggy jawed men with stone axes in their hands. And he points behind him as well with his thumb to a line of bushes which begin to move and rustle. As several other men, but about 6 more of them, come out and they have bows, which are drawn if not being aimed. And he kind of leans back with a cocky swagger as he reveals his hand. As would all of they.
Ka-ching!
2
Lady
McNair
Sophina
knights.
throws a small bag of coins over to the knights.
Yeah. He
No need to get
leans
violent.
to pick it up and holds it in his hand. But 2 knights of McNair Hall? Why? That's a fine bounty in itself, wouldn't you say? He looks to his friend. Oh, yes, I'd say so, all right. And he has his sack of coin. Would you like to come with us? Brave Sir Knights.
As much as I would love to join you in your glorious wherever you wish to take us, you see, we are being led on a great mission with our septum, and, well, rightfully, We just don't have the time to go with you. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know, Septon. Like you said, you're stopping on every town and village along the way, so wouldn't you like to stop by at ours? And he places a hand on his sword.
Yeah, I think Birch looks around to the 6 behind us, the 2 in front of us, and the potentially more hiding, and it's just a numbers game at this point. Like, as much as he would like to keep doing this, like, this is going to be a losing battle. Yeah, gosh. I think that's what he does. God, I hate doing it, but that's the read I'm getting on this, is that we're screwed. So
yeah, Arvin has like at this point it's slow motion is happening where everyone is giving each other these very long, tense glances of what do we do as hands are grasping on swords and there's the tightening of gauntlets on weapons and stuff like that. So Arvin is shooting Cicero a look like, what do we do? As is Squire Roydon, he's just in absolute fear.
Yeah. Pretty calmly, actually. Turns back to the Septon.
Says, I think the Septon can make a little time for an audience with great King under the mountain.
of course, all for the glory of the gods.
Well, if the Septon believes it's best.
Very good, Septon. Birch, wasn't it?
That's right.
If you'd kindly...
Didn't catch your names, though.
Ulf, they call me. Ulf Longhammer. He shoots a very leery grin over at Kaylee. If you'd like to follow me. And Ulf Longhammer, as his mate, kind of chuckles with him in a similarly leery manner. The horseman from behind sort of trots behind you while the men up front escort you through the woods. It's going to be a couple of hours until you reach this destination, and Cicero knows it. Valian probably does as well, just by like maps. Just by having seen the maps, you know where like the old McNair ruins are. It's an old spot of land. As far as you know, not many people really live there, but these clansmen sure are getting ballsy. Well, in fact, treasonous. Like, they could all be hanged for this, as far as you're concerned. You would hang them all. Is there anything that you guys would like to do along the way? Either conversations to one another or anything. You're not being bound, you're not being gagged, you're not being blindfolded. They are just keeping a close eye on you. They have weapons drawn, but they don't appear to be firing at you. And you manage to count all in all that there are 15 of them. 6 on horse and the rest on foot.
I'm gonna
I'll
this point, and I'm gonna say, I will not be a captain again.
Sorry, one more time. What was that?
I will not be a captive again.
Cicero seems very calm for what's just happened. Just kind of gives her a nod.
I have an idea. We might not have to stay here for long. We might leave with some new allies. Just because they're different McNairs doesn't mean Blackwoods won't kill them too. We have a common enemy.
Sure.
Okay, so the group of you continue in through the forests and up the forest hills into the mountains that surround McNair Hall. By the time it's been several hours up these old, basically goat trails, you guys are fairly well tired from a tough journey up through this craggy rock, and not one well suited for horses. By the time you reach its summit, you're at the old McNair ruins, what used to be an old hall. And the people are out here in force, and you would count about all in all, it's like a small village, about 100 of them maybe. But they are all far more, perhaps barbaric, or tribally natured than your average McNair that lives in McNair Hall, who's been, lives a more farmer-style life. These people all look to be hunters by trade, or woodsmen by trade. And as the band of you come in, you see this truly mountain of a man who you would recognize to be Greg McNair. He's probably a little older than your father, but he has this long beard which almost goes down to his stomach. And he appears to be wearing a circlet, which is bore of some rough-hewn stone, which looks like it'd be very heavy, but it has some kind of jewel in it, which glows green. It's the only note of like finery or jewelry that you've seen amongst these folk who wear furs and cloth upon them, and all bear some kind of weaponry. At the very least, like a stone dagger is what they're wielding. They don't have forges, is another thing that you can tell. This campment is basically just a big camping site with like tents pitched and the like. There's no forging going on. There's not the familiar sound of a blacksmith here. They craft their weapons from stone. And this huge man, Greg, who's also wearing a fairly fine suit of chain mail, and has a huge axe slung on his belt, one that looks like it could probably cut down a tree and a man at the same time. There we go, Speedy. He approaches Ulf, and he does the traditional northern sort of arm shake. And says, "Ulf, welcome home. I see that you brought some gifts to me. What have we here? McNairs, it would seem." And he looks you up and down, each and every one of you. "Well, name yourselves, for you stand before the Lord of the Mountain."
Kaylee's gonna
Birch will
look
step forward as this is his. Oh, yeah. But Birch will step forward as the whole gimmick right now is this is Septon's quest, so he will just say, "Birch, my name is Septon Birch." And again, just big, flashy, toothy smile.
A Septon, I see. Well, that is a strange thing, but perhaps you can tell me, Septon. What, by the old gods and your new ones, are those McNairs doing in the hall? For you have lived there for some time, have you not?
There is much going on in the world. Yes, have been a guest of theirs for quite a while. There's still some skirmishes with the greater families that are being addressed right now, but McNair Hall stands strong.
Skirmishes, you say? And he gets very close. Very close. And even if you're sitting on your horse still, he's almost as tall as you. He's probably close to 7 feet. This guy is one of the largest people you've probably ever met. And he doesn't seem to have a problem with getting quite close to you. Skirmishes, eh? Well, as you can see here, Septon, my men are ready for war, but the McNairs down there do nothing. And so, I have seen it on myself to take charge of my people. Tell me, what does Brian do down there? Cower behind his son? A pathetic little whelp, I've heard, by all accounts.
The men train. They prepare for battle. They prepare to die for that pathetic little whelp you speak of. They believe in the young lord.
Really? But I do not see Brian's armies mustering. Last word I sent, my messenger was turned back. Did not need our help. Fine by me. Perhaps you will fetch a fine price for Brian, Septon, if you are so beloved by him. And I have one of his knights here as well. He looks towards Kaylee. Tell me, how did that come to pass? Brian, let a woman be a knight.
She kind of smiles. Well, I suppose my talents shine for themselves. Being a woman doesn't mean that I can't sling a blade or fight strong next to a man. It's not unheard of.
True enough. Real McNair women know how to swing a sword. Perhaps you are one like them. Nonetheless, perhaps this will awaken Brian's eyes to the situation. So, you are my guests here, though you may not leave until I deem it. The messenger has been sent to the Lord. We shall see if he answers. And then perhaps he will deign to speak with the Lord under the mountain. And the assembled people, it's already a cheer, so much there is just kind of like some fist pumps. Yeah, like, yeah. Fuck yeah. That's Greg. That's our boy right there. Like, he's doing it.
So, as we're doing, like, as to Kaylee, like, since we're stuck here, and like in an attempt to kind of like bring a slightly more positive light on this, she's gonna slide off her horse very like non-threateningly. Well, I suppose if we're trapped here and we're your guests, then perhaps we drink.
Very well. Let it not be said that the McNairs under the mountain are not good with guests. And he sort of gestures towards this large horn of ale which is being passed around. And it does seem like there's not really such a threat anymore. You know, it seems like you have somewhat been welcomed in by Greg, maybe. Obviously, you're not allowed to leave. There are plenty of people that are around, but there aren't any swords being pointed in your direction or bows being pointed. It seems a bit more like, all the soldiers are home now and we're going to have a drink. And so there are large hearths and campfires which are being lit. And people are sort of sitting down and drinking.
Nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Do you say that, sorry?
No. I might say it down the line to Cicero, but I'm not going to go immediately and say it to... from where they are filling that horn, that drinking horn.
Yeah, they're passing it around.
No, I'm going to know where they fill it from, though.
Okay, yeah. So, they sort of welcome you to the camp for a drink. Anyone that joins them is welcome to. Greg sits at the sort of center of the campfire and calls the group of you over. Come! You must tell me recent events at McNair Hall. Last we were allowed in was, well, when the Septon was first arrived. Much has happened. I hear tell of Blackwood Hall, and these scum who seek to usurp our lands. Do you know something of this that you could tell me?
As they're working over, Kaylee's gonna have the horn and have access to it, and in her usual embarrassing fashion, she's gonna take a big swig to continue to try to be very friendly in this. She doesn't want to die today. She's gonna take a big swig, kind of like, you're trying to impress the guy. She's really on it, and is gonna go to pass it on to, there you go, to Cicero. As they move on. Lots have been happening here, yes. Well, not here, I guess, but God, that's strong. Back home. What all have you heard exactly? Do I call you a lord?
You may. And I have heard tell that these Blackwoods have been up to their old tricks again. Long have I told Brian to show them strength and not mercy. He has never listened to me. So
Well,
I
I
would
can
have
tell
you
you
tell
that-
me of his mind, and how fit he is to be that lord of McNair Hall. Seems to me like it could do with someone strong, not meek.
Well, I can tell you after a recent seeing of Blackwood Hall and the things that we've had to endure, the little whelp you speak of isn't quite just a whelp, you know. Quite a feasible man, raised by
Really?
a good man himself, my lord.
Good men do not win wars, Sir Knight. And war is
No, but
coming.
smart
I
ones
hear.
do.
Well, you would be smart enough to stay away from here then.
Sometimes we must make decisions that aren't the smartest, I would assume. But I'm not a lord, so I don't like to assume exactly what would go through their mind and our passes to bring our septum through and speak.
As a
his
lord,
word
I
at
shall
all.
tell you then the mind of Sir Brian there as I see it, and that of his son, Cicero. They are weak. They seek to appease these Blackwoods with whatever it is they can. Wealth, trade, down the river, all of our hopes and fortunes stolen from us by those bastards and whoresons from years ago. And Brian, does he do anything about it? No.
He's gonna raise her hand. Well, I appreciate your words. Let me say this. And it isn't all kindness and trade. And Kelly, sips again a drink as it comes back around. For if it was all kindness and trade, then their dear son would still be alive, and he's not.
The son died. In the
At
tournament.
Yes.
I heard word of this. But not how he fell.
He fell to the blade of the whelp you speak of continuously.
He kind of grins. A whelp has teeth then. Good. That is
Teeth and
what pride
claws.
is old. Well, we shall see. I too have teeth. And claws.
I wouldn't deny that. A man of your size.
What would you say then, Sir Knight, of a lord who would not meet with his subject?
As I would say, that I am not a lord, therefore my thoughts.
Come now, you have watched lords. You have sat by one's table for years.
Well, I would say that in times when things don't seem as dire, some lords may think themselves highly above certain things, and it takes a great shock to find a truth and a good strength that is needed.
You
And I think
speak in what ifs and buts, howevers, all of this. Meaningless words, Sir Knight. Us McNair speak plain truths. McNair Hall needs a strong leader. Brian McNair is not that one. Perhaps this whelp is. And I am a man of honor, as the McNairs ever have been. And they all very self-assuredly nod like, yes, we are all honorable people. Like, that's a big part of McNair culture. Wherever you go, is like, that's a... Even this far, it's like, all right, yeah, we're all McNairs. We're all honorable people. So I would honor the rule of a strong man. But not one has walked or deigned to even speak with me. They think us too barbaric, Sir Knight. Do you think us barbarians, we who would defend our own home with a sword?
I think any man that holds his home is not barbaric. You have not slain us. You've offered us drink. I don't find you barbaric. I don't think our Lord Cicero would either. I think that if he were here, he would stand tall and speak to you as an equal.
Somehow I doubt that.
You are allowed your doubts. But that doesn't make them true.
Joseph, do you have something to say here, Cicero?
I think
Getting
he's
baited
gonna.
hard.
Yeah, he's. Oh man, he's gonna finish taking a chug on this ale and just kind of clear his throat. I do have one question for you, Sir Lord. You say you are preparing for battle here in your own home, comforts of the mountains. I'm but a whelp, but how do you feel that's any better than what the McNairs are doing down in McNair Hall? How do you feel that justifies you calling them cowards?
Have they called the banners? Do they send for aid? No. I hear no battle cry, no trumpet calling me home to my hall. Well, all I have is silence. But I sit here with my people and I must give them answers, and I must show them leadership when there is none. And so, they call me Lord, for I act as a lord. And I will defend my home. And our ancestral home, were it to be called upon me by a McNair of true blood. But seeing as there are none, I am left here.
Very well. Cicero begins to kind of wipe his face. I'd like to extend my own personal invitation to McNair Hall then.
He squints at you. What?
Oh, forgive me, I imagine news to the mountain travels slow. Faces might become unrecognizable after several years of not seeing them.
You do not dress as a
You're-
lord.
Well, if you expect me to travel in my finery, I think you know less of this than you pretend to.
He stands up and takes 2 strides and covers about 10 feet in doing so. And he's right next to you. Stand up. Let me see you.
Cicero very slowly rises to his feet, passes the ale to whoever's next. His full height is probably a little over 6 feet, so he's nowhere near as tall as this man, but he
Still tall.
stands with a resolute confidence, as much as he can muster.
He eyes you up and down for a long moment, and there's a lot of tension in this moment where he's sort of taking full account of what you look like. You have the look of Brian about you, all right. So, doesn't even send you. Instead, you scurry off across my lands. You do not seek to see me either. I am disappointed.
On the contrary, I'd made it my duty to seek you out. Not on this particular mission. But the news of your letters not reaching my ears, nor the ears of my father, is news to me. News I'm not akin to hearing. And news I wish wasn't true. But the news that you need to hear is that our lands are in great danger. And one McNair house alone cannot defend them. In fact, the entirety of the McNairs is not going to be enough. Me and these men and women are on our way to meet with the Umbers to request more forces. Because the battle here is much bigger than the McNairs and the Blackwoods. There's war coming between the North. You say your men are ready for it.
I see that your words are true. For McNairs do not lie. Very well. If you would call upon me, boy, you're gonna have to prove yourself first. Same way me and Brian did it back in our youth. Choose a weapon! And he breaks. The camp sort of clears out into something of a ring as there's that energy of a fight about to happen.
Cicero strolls over to where the horses are and draws out the sword that Kaylee's father made for him. Since that's what he's familiar with, and that's probably prefers that to stone, castle-made steel.
Mm-hmm. He unlimbers this gigantic two-handed axe, one cleave from which would likely cut a man in half, and he looks like he has the strength to do it as well. As the two of you stand opposite one another. As the this eclectic energy of this fight momentum begins to build in the crowd as people start getting really excited, and it's not really placing bets, but it's like sort of, they're all betting on Greg in their hearts, at least. There's like this real McNair figure, and right then, boy, let's see what you're made of. And as he moves towards you, with a certainty and resolution in his step, you see Ulf Longhammer runs up to him. My lord, my lord! And he has ran in from sort of out of camp. And grave news, my lord. Soldiers, not far from here. Only a few minutes away. And Greg looks between you and back to Ulf. Soldiers, under whose banner? And Ulf says, Blackwoods, my lord. They're coming. Greg McNair looks towards Cicero. But it looks as though we're going to have a chance for our contest, Lord McNair. And I think that's where we'll end it for tonight's session, as the camp gets ready for a throwdown with some Blackwoods, some good old McNair on Blackwood killing about to happen in our camp today. So, that was an episode. We go for some tense moments.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I was.
I'm sorry if they murder you and all of the other McNairs. It's not my fault. I didn't tell them to do this. I am completely innocent Blackwood, who has done
It's just what a
Best to
non-innocent
die.
person would say.
Blackwood's.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of an
you have-
oxymoron at this point.
You haven't thought of
I'm
the
a good
possibility that they might be out for you, Sophina. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to.
Probably your fault. So
It's probably your fault. We'll
Look,
see.
if-
We'll see.
Maybe if Cicero hadn't had to go all, oh, you're a bunch of traitors, we could have just paid our way through. No one would
Yeah,
ever
you
have to know.
did give the game away a little bit.
It's that good McNair honor.
to buddy up with a Blackwood and be captured by our own who have already committed treasonous crimes that we're just kind of going, yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Sure, why not?
He's only
Well,
a little
I
bit
think-
treasonous. It's okay.
You know, it kind of comes down to like we would be killed if we're like, ha ha, let's go and murder you now because we're surrounded by camp. So, as like characters, I would assume that their like level of thinking is like we're going to survive, and if we could manipulate this to be in favor of us, then we're gonna do that. Like, because we can't
Right,
as lords, like
Yeah.
they can't just be like kill, 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 kill. Oh my god, kill, kill, kill. That also doesn't give a lot of story.
He's sitting there saying, we always act with honor. And like immediately before was clearly not acting with any honor whatsoever, and nobody called him
That's
honor.
McNair's for you, man. You're all liars and cheats. And you say you're honorable. That's like the McNair thing, right? Yeah, I know.
What a bunch of weaselly fuckers.
Always double dealing those bastards. They collude with septums.
Don't try and ferret your way out of
worse.
this.
Yeah.
We're not fair. It's fine. No, all the twists and stuff add for an interesting story. Like when things become resolved, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like when, when truth's begin to be spoken.
I like the morally grey. You know, they definitely have committed treason. So whether or not there are like long-term consequences, like they were for the phrase, they weren't killed immediately, but they get their comeuppance when all is said and done after the war. They go ahead and kill them all, and then lay salt in their land. So there's definitely a long-term plan for you, McNairs, if you wanted to enact revenge upon Greg and his people afterwards. Let's kill them all for treason. But they are your constituents for now, and possibly an ally, so, you know, there's that. But there you go. That is Game of Thrones, my friends, and that's the McNairs getting up to trouble even in their own lands, even just when crossing a bridge. These guys just can't stay out of trouble, and that's the fun part of this campaign.
It's all the Septum's
but, yeah.
fault. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we could probably blame the Septum for all of this, right?
Because
The
the old
gods-
gods are angry.
the old gods are angry. Yeah, punishing us.
All of the gods are angry. Every one of the gods is angry.
There you go. Well, let's whip around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you guys online? Man, let's go around in reversals to start Speedy tonight. Speedy, welcome to the crew. Thank you for joining us. Lady Sophina is awesome, and she is more than a match for the party, which I like because it was the most tense inter-party conflict. Just when we thought we were out of the secrets with Septum Birch and we're all on the same page, Lady Sophina comes in to muddy the waters. How was tonight's session for you?
Oh, it was great. I'm already working on a backup character for when Valiant kills me. Just inevitably. No, it was super great. I really love this just very tentative alliance that we have here, where it's very clear that I am not trusted at all, but Cicero at least thinks there is something valuable to get out of me and is holding on to that. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes next, and you guys are all super awesome. I'm very happy that I'm able to join this group.
Happy
Fantastic.
to.
And yeah, likewise. It's awesome to have you with us, Speedy. Even if it is for just another 20 minutes until you're killed. Where can we find you online in between now and the next session?
You can catch me on my Twitch channel at Not So Speedruns, or on Twitter at Not So Speedruns. You can also check out at Cast Together on Twitter. It's a community of streamers dedicated to mental health advocacy on Twitch, and it's a super awesome group to be a part of, very supportive. And if that sounds like something up your alley, go ahead and follow them on Twitter. If you're a streamer, go ahead and join the Discord as well. Super great cause.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, let's go over to Kitty. How was tonight's session for you?
It was great. A lot of tenseness. I'm ready. I feel like we're right here at this thing, and like the next episode, it's all gonna be just like story. Just gonna open the floodgates, and a lot's gonna like really fall into place. So it's gonna be really good. So I'm excited. I'm glad to be back. It's been like a month since I've been on the show.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a while, and I missed everyone. And I'm glad to have Speedy. I think is a great addition to the group, not only just because his name matches Joseph's name. Totally wasn't why
I mean, that was the
him
big
at all.
pull for me, honestly.
Yeah.
That was
Speedy and
too
Swift at it
speedy.
again.
But yeah,
Speedy
no.
brothers.
So I'm really excited to see where it goes and like what all the twists and turns. But I'm Awkward Kitty Inc. Or Rebecca Kitty, whatever you want to call me. You can find me here on Twitch, Awkward Kitty Inc. You can find me on Twitter. I'm a freelance artist as well as a roleplay streamer here on Twitch. But I do a little bit different kind of roleplay. I roleplay in games. Do voice acting, all sorts of great fun. So if you want subpar entertainment and have a little fun hanging out, then come check me out.
That's basically what I do for a day job, so absolutely. Bird versus Plane. Dude, Sept and Birch tonight. That was just a fun little moment with Lady Sophina. But maybe he's not the least trusted person.
The thing is that really gets to me is that Speedy not being in the fantasy grounds means I truly do not know if he was persuading or deceiving me. But I really love
Or
the idea
if I
of
beat your roll or didn't.
either way, I really love the idea of Birch honestly thinking you're just a naive, idealistic little girl who wants peace for the realm. That's such a nice little thing to be happening. And I cannot wait to see more of it unfold. My God, I love the politics and the bullshit deceiving of this story. It's so fun. I'm Bird vs. Plane. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter, that very same name. I stream from my channel a lot for different charities of the month. So come hang out and donate if you can, or just be cool and chill if you can't.
Fantastic. And Joseph, how was that for Cicero tonight?
Oh goodness, this is tough. There's a lot of decisions being made, and I am not confident in all of them, and I damn sure know that Cicero isn't. So, yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. But Speedy, it's great to have you. When Will announced you as Sophina Blackwood, I was about ready to jump through the screen. But that's just what he does. He loves to torture people for fun, and so I'll deem him a Bolton himself. So it is how it is, and we're going through it. But damn, this makes things so much interesting. So I'm to see where from here. It's fun as always. Thanks all of you guys. Thank you to chat. Thanks to everyone watching. I hope you all have a great night.
That's good stuff. And last but not least, Jen, how was that for Valiant tonight?
Valiant hates everybody right now. Valiant is, Valiant is extremely displeased with a whole set of decisions. So we'll see. Valiant may just go rogue coming up because there is no one trustworthy around. And she's watching person after person fall for it, and she knows better. So it's going to be interesting coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing how that all shakes out because, she's watching people fall for things that she fell for before and knows better. It's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I am Jen. I am DreamWisp on Twitter and Instagram. I am DreamWisp Jen on Twitch. And if you can, please donate to World Builders, worldbuilders.org. Sometime in the next, they have 1 week left, and they're doing incredible work. So anything you can give helps, and they get a lot of donor matching too. So, and you can pick up some really cool swag. They even have a D&D and role-playing subset. So there's all sorts of really incredible tabletop stuff there too. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Links in the chat. We'll try and put it in the YouTube video as long as I remember. I'll make a note to do so. Boy, what an episode that was for me. It's great. I just get to sit back and let you guys screw everything up, and it's fun. And and it kind of works out okay in the end because we get to kill some Blackwoods next week. So a couple of weeks ago I watched the Outlaw King on Netflix with Chris Pine. Absolutely watch it if you like the show. It's just the greatest medieval.
It made me hate the British. I'm just saying, like, it was so good, but I was like, fucking British are disgusting.
Every movie with Scottish people and historically you just end up hating the English because we were just absolutely terrible to them. But that's kind of what we did for the past 1,000 years. But yeah, on a side note, definitely watch that. It was big inspiration for these McNairs, and also just the pacing of that movie feels like what this show is. So we have these long breaks where there's a lot of discussion and politics and deceiving going on. You get these really awesome action scenes going. So that's my shout out for the night to go and watch that tonight. Yeah, after this. What am I doing tomorrow? God knows. Tomorrow is Tuesday, which means I'm streaming D&D at 5 o'clock Eastern, and then there's more D&D at 8 o'clock with Midgard. So I'll see you guys then. But until next time, my friends, thank the Queen for England, and until next time, try not to roll too many net ones. We're going to be laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.